Welcome to Aurora English, the podcast where we talk about big ideas in clear, natural English. I'm William. Every week, Sophia and I pick one huge topic, break it down into bite-sized pieces, and sprinkle in useful everyday phrases so you can improve your listening and speaking at the same time. We laugh, we argue a little, and we always try to keep it real and fun. Today is going to be wild because we're asking the biggest question of all. Are we actually living inside a giant computer program? Buckle up because this one can make your head spin.
And I'm Sophia. Hi, everyone. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Today we're diving into one of the craziest, most mind-blowing questions ever. Are we living in a simulation? Mind-blowing means something so shocking or amazing that it feels like your brain explodes with new ideas. For example, when you watch a magician make an elephant disappear, that's mind-blowing. When you first saw a 4K video after years of old TVs, mind-blowing. And this topic? Totally next level mind-blowing. William, are you ready to have your brain melted? Brain melted is just a funny way to say your thoughts are going to feel like warm ice cream, messy and all over the place.
I'm ready, but I'm also a little scared. This topic always makes me feel like I'm in The Matrix. You know, that famous 1999 movie where Keanu Reeves finds out the whole world is a fake computer world and he has to take a red pill to wake up. I sometimes joke that I'm afraid to take the red pill because what if the real world outside is worse? Okay, let's not get too dark yet. Let's start simple. Sophia, in your own words, what does "we're living in a simulation" even mean? Pretend you're explaining it to your 10-year-old cousin who only cares about Fortnite and candy.
Great question. Okay, imagine you're playing the most realistic video game in history. You put on super high-tech glasses, and suddenly you're walking on a beach. You feel the sand between your toes. You smell the ocean. You could taste ice cream. Everything feels 100% real. But actually, your body is lying in bed and a giant computer is sending all those feelings straight to your brain. Now imagine the game is so perfect that you completely forget it's a game. You grow up, go to school, get a job, fall in love, and you never ever find out you're just a character inside someone else's computer program. That's the simulation idea. Everything around us, people, trees, mountains, your coffee cup, even your dog, is not made of real atoms. It's all computer code, like a super advanced video game. Someone or something outside our world is running the program and we're just characters inside it. We call this idea the simulation hypothesis. Hypothesis is a fancy word, but it only means an idea we can talk about and maybe test one day. It's not a fact yet, just a really interesting guess. For example, scientists have the hypothesis that there's water on Mars. Nobody's 100% sure, but the idea is on the table.
Exactly. And that idea became super famous because of a Swedish philosopher named Nick Bostrom. In 2003, he wrote an academic paper with a very long title, but the short version everyone remembers is, "Are you living in a computer simulation?" His argument is short but powerful, and it has only 3 possibilities. Only one of them can be true at the same time. Here they are slowly. First possibility. Almost every human-like civilization destroys itself or goes extinct before it becomes super advanced. Maybe we blow ourselves up with nuclear weapons, or climate change gets us, or a new virus wipes everyone out. In other words, we never reach the level where we can build computers strong enough to run whole worlds. Second possibility, civilizations that do become super advanced decide for whatever reason not to run ancestor simulations. Ancestor simulations means they create fake worlds that look exactly like their own past, with people like us, with smartphones, traffic jams, pizza, everything. Maybe they think it's boring or too expensive, or maybe it's against their laws, like don't play God. The third possibility is They do run tons and tons of ancestor simulations, and because they can run millions or billions of them, almost all conscious beings who think they are real are actually living inside one of those simulations. So the chance that you and I are in the one single base reality is tiny, like winning the lottery 1,000 times in a row. Those are the only 3 doors. Bostrom says at least one door has to be true. And if the first 2 are false, we're almost certainly in door number 3.
Whoa, slow down, Professor. You're going full university lecture mode. Let me translate that into everyday coffee shop English. Bostrom is basically saying, look, if future humans or future aliens get really, really good at computers, and we're already getting crazy good, they will probably be able to create millions or even billions of fake universes that feel completely real to the people inside. Now imagine there's only one real, original world, what Bostrom calls base reality. Base reality is like the ground floor, the one place that isn't running on someone else's computer. Everything else is a copy inside a copy inside a copy. If there's only one base reality and billions of simulated ones, then simple math says you and I are way, way more likely to be inside one of the fake ones. It's exactly like the lottery example. Imagine someone prints one real lottery ticket and a billion fake ones that look identical. If a ticket wins the big prize, which ticket is it most likely to be? One of the billion fake ones, not the single real one. Same with us. Statistically, we're probably fake. When something is super unlikely, we say the odds are 1 in a billion or 1 billion to 1. Elon Musk loves this argument. He says there's a 1 in billions chance we're in base reality. In other words, he thinks it's almost certain we're inside a game. Mind blown yet?
Nice explanation, Sophia. You nailed it. The phrase base reality just means the one single layer that isn't running inside somebody else's computer. Think of it like the very bottom floor of a huge building. All the other floors are built on top of the bottom one, but the bottom one sits directly on real ground. Everything else is fake floors inside a computer. If we're in base reality, we're on that ground floor. If we're simulated, we're living on floor 10,000 or floor 100 million, and we have no idea. People also call it the bedrock reality. Bedrock means the solid rock deep underground that you can't dig past. For example, in Minecraft, bedrock is the unbreakable layer at the very bottom of the world. Same idea here. Base reality is the unbreakable layer that can't be simulated because there's nothing under it.
Okay, but seriously, why do so many super smart people take this idea seriously and not just laugh it off? I mean, Elon Musk, the guy who builds rockets and electric cars, goes on interviews and says there's literally a 1 in billions chance that we're in base reality. 1 in billions means the probability is so tiny it's almost 0. For example, your chance of getting hit by lightning twice in one day is maybe 1 in a billion. Your chance of winning the Powerball jackpot twice in a row? 1 in billions. Elon is saying it's basically impossible that this world is the real one. Billions. That's not just a random tweet. He repeats it all the time. And he's not alone. Lots of scientists, programmers, and philosophers nod along and say, yeah, that actually makes sense. Why don't they think it's totally crazy?
2 huge reasons, and we can see both of them happening right in front of our eyes. First reason, look at how insanely fast video games and virtual reality have improved in just 50 years. In the 1970s, the best game was Pong, literally 2 right lines and a moving dot on a black screen. My dad says he waited in line at the arcade to play Hat for 10 minutes. Fast forward 40 years, and we have games like Red Dead Redemption 2 or Cyberpunk 2077, where you can ride a horse through a snowstorm. Every snowflake is different. You can talk to thousands of characters who remember what you said yesterday. The sun rises and sets with perfect light physics, and the cities feel alive. Now add virtual reality headsets. Put on an Oculus or Apple Vision Pro, and you really feel like you're standing somewhere else.
The progress isn't slowing down, it's speeding up. Every year, graphics get twice as good, computers get 10 times more powerful. If this curve keeps going, and there's no side it will stop, in a couple hundred years, or maybe even less, a single gaming console the size of a shoebox could simulate an entire planet with 10 billion people who have feelings, memories, and believe they are real. That's a full ancestor simulation, a perfect copy of Earth 2025 running on some kid's computer. And if one kid can run one Earth, a whole civilization can run trillions of Earths at the same time. That's the first reason the technology train is already on the tracks and picking up speed.
Ancestor simulation, broken down super simple, it's a video game that recreates the exact life of the people who came before you. So if someone in the year 3000 wants to study how people lived in 2025, they press play, and boom, there we are, stuck in traffic, scrolling on our phones, complaining about the weather, eating tacos, everything copied perfectly. It's like when you watch a historical movie, but a million times more real. The characters, us, don't know they're in a movie. We think this is the only life. That's ancestor simulation in a nutshell.
Second big reason why smart people listen: quantum physics is super weird, and it behaves exactly the way a video game would if the programmers wanted to save computer power. In real life, tiny particles, electrons, photons, don't have a definite position or speed until we measure them. Before we look, they exist in many states at once. Physicists call it superposition. The moment we observe, poof, they choose one state. This is called wave function collapse. Some researchers say, hey, that's exactly like a video game that only renders, meaning it only calculates in full detail, the parts the player is actually looking at. The game doesn't waste electricity drawing the inside of a house you're not entering. It only loads the street you're walking on. Scientists gave this idea a name: rendering on demand. On demand means only when needed. Netflix loads the next episode on demand. It doesn't download the whole season when you're watching episode 1. Same thing could be happening with the universe. The tree in your backyard might be low resolution until you walk outside and look at it.
Exactly like in Grand Theft Auto. When you're driving super fast, the buildings far away look blurry and simple. Only when you get close do they suddenly get windows, bricks, posters, everything sharp. The game is saving power. So, are you telling me the moon might be blurry right now because nobody is looking at it? And the second someone points a telescope, the computer goes, uh-oh, and quickly renders craters and details? That's both hilarious and terrifying.
I'm not saying it's definitely true, but a lot of physicists smile and say it would explain a lot. There's even a joke in university hallways: the moon isn't there when nobody looks. It comes from a famous quote by Albert Einstein, who was frustrated with this weirdness. So yes, the name for the idea is rendering on demand, and it makes the simulation argument feel a little less crazy.
Okay. Now it's time for the fun part. Real-life examples that make you go, If we're in a simulation, a lot of everyday mysteries suddenly make sense. First one everybody knows: déjà vu, that creepy feeling when you swear you've lived this exact moment before. Déjà vu is French for already seen. In the simulation theory, déjà vu could be a tiny glitch in the matrix. Maybe the programmers accidentally loaded the same scene twice, or copied and pasted a few seconds by mistake. It's like when your video game lags and the same frame repeats. Example: you walk into a coffee shop and suddenly feel 100% sure you've stood in this exact spot, smelled this exact smell, heard this exact song before, even though you've never been here. Glitch.
Another classic: those impossible lucky moments. You drop your brand new phone face down on concrete. You close your eyes, waiting for the crack, and it lands perfectly flat, not a single scratch. Everyone around you says, "No way!" In simulation speak, that's a bug in the physics engine. The physics engine is the part of the program that calculates gravity, collisions, braking, etc. Maybe the programmer set the random luck slider a little too high for you that day, or the code had a rounding error and decided your phone weighs 0.0001 grams for 1 millisecond. Bugs happen in every game. Why not in reality?
My personal favorite is the disappearing object phenomenon. You look everywhere for your car keys, under the couch, in every pocket, in the fridge, don't judge me, and they're simply gone. You swear on your life they're not there. Then 5 minutes later, they're sitting right in the middle of the kitchen table, in plain sight, like they teleported. Simulation believers say someone upstairs noticed the bug report, laughed, and finally fixed the texture loaded correctly. Texture in games means the picture that is wrapped around an object. Maybe the keys were invisible because their texture file didn't load. And then, poof, patch applied, keys appear.
One of the biggest ones is the Mandela effect. Huge groups of people remember the exact same thing differently from official history. The most famous? Thousands and thousands of people clearly remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 1980s. They remember news reports, crying in school, everything. But officially, he was released in 1990 and died in 2013. Some people say it's just false memory, but simulation fans say it could be evidence of timeline edits. Maybe the programmers changed a detail and updated the simulation, but some of our brains kept the old cache, like when a website updates, but your browser still shows the old version until you refresh. Or maybe two similar simulations merged and the memories got mixed.
My absolute favorite Mandela effect is the Berenstain Bears. When I was a kid, I read those books every single day, and I would bet my life it was spelled Berenstein with an E. But if you check any book today, old ones, new ones, library ones, it's Bernstein with an A. Millions of people remember the E. There are even old VHS tapes where TV announcers say Berenstein. Freaky doesn't even begin to cover it. Freaky means scary in a strange, hard-to-explain way. Example, a horror movie with ghosts is scary, but a horror movie where dolls move when you're not looking? That's freaky. The Berenstein spelling change? Totally freaky. So yeah, listeners, next time you experience déjà vu, drop your phone without damage, or find something that was never there, just look up at the sky and wink. Maybe the devs are watching and laughing.
All right, now let's flip the table and play devil's advocate. Playing devil's advocate means purposely arguing the opposite side, even if you don't fully believe it, just to see if the idea holds up. So here come the big counter-arguments, why the whole simulation thing might be total nonsense. First and biggest one, we have zero proof that consciousness can ever be created inside a computer. Right now, the most powerful AI can write poems, drive cars, and beat you at chess, but nobody seriously thinks ChatGPT or any robot is actually feeling joy or pain. Consciousness, the inner experience of what it feels like to be you, might need real wet biology, brains, blood, chemicals, maybe even something mysterious we call a soul. If consciousness can't be copied into pure code, then Bostrom's argument works. But if it can't, if you need real flesh and blood, then the whole house of cards falls down. For example, you can simulate a heart beating on a screen, but the picture doesn't actually pump blood. Same with minds. Maybe you can simulate perfect behavior, but the lights are still off inside. Nobody's home.
Exactly. Maybe you just can't simulate a soul. Soul here doesn't have to be religious. It can just mean private, first-person feeling of being alive. I can program a character to scream when you poke it, but that doesn't mean it hurts. It's like the difference between a real kiss and watching two actors kiss on TV. One is warm and real, the other is just colored dots on glass. So yeah, huge roadblock. If future people can never make truly conscious beings in a computer, then all those billions of ancestor simulations are just zombie worlds, full of fake people who act real but feel nothing. And if they feel nothing, we can't be in one of them because, well, we do feel things.
They're podcasting this voice on radio.
Second counterargument, even if future civilizations can build these mega simulations, maybe they simply choose not to. Maybe running a full Earth costs as much energy as powering 1,000 suns, so it's like leaving every light, air conditioner, and television on in a planet-sized data center, super wasteful. Or maybe it becomes illegal, like cloning humans is illegal in many countries today. Or maybe it's considered super boring. Why would I watch my great-great-grandparents argue about taxes when I can explore real galaxies? Or maybe it's unethical, creating billions of conscious beings just so they can suffer traffic jams and heartbreak feels cruel. Imagine if you made a video game where every character can get cancer. Most people would say, dude, that's messed up. So advanced civilizations might have rules. No suffering simulations allowed.
Or the total opposite, they do run simulations, but they turn the happiness dial all the way up. Everyone has perfect health, perfect relationships, free ice cream every day, like the TV show Westworld, but instead of robots being tortured, the robots, us, are living in paradise and never want to leave. In that case, nobody would ever complain or try to escape because the life is too good. It'll be Westworld, but super nice, like an endless vacation. So the fact that our world has wars, mosquitoes, and slow internet might actually prove we're not in a simulation. Because if someone was paying the electric bill, they'd patch those bugs immediately.
Third classic counterargument, Occam's razor. This is a principle from the 14th century that says, don't multiply entities unnecessarily. In plain English, the simplest explanation that fits all the facts is usually the correct one. Shaving with Occam's razor means you cut away extra complicated stuff. The simplest story is the world is real, made of atoms, and that's it. No secret computers, no programmers, or outer layers needed. Adding, we're actually inside a giant PlayStation run by aliens makes everything 10 times more complicated for zero extra proof. It's like saying your lost keys aren't on the table, they were stolen by invisible elves who will return them tomorrow. Possible? Sure. Likely? No. Occam's razor says, go with I just didn't see them instead of elf theft.
But William, I'm giving Occam's razor a hipster beard and a man bun. Because once technology reaches a certain point, the simulation idea might actually be the simpler one. Think about it. One single base reality that invents God-level computers, and those computers running billions of copies equal, the math says, almost everyone is copied. So the complicated option becomes, we are the one super special real world out of trillions. That starts sounding like the complicated story. It's simpler to just say, yeah, we're one of the gobbies. The beard on Occam's razor is the future tech. If the tech exists, the numbers win.
Fair point, you got me there. Another huge problem that bothers a lot of people, if we're simulated, why is there so much pointless suffering? Wars, childhood cancer, natural disasters, stepping on Lego bricks in the dark, bad Wi-Fi in cafes. Why would any programmer allow that? If this is a game, it feels like the difficulty is set to nightmare mode with no save points. A loving programmer would patch pain out of existence. A bored programmer would at least give us better graphics or flying cars by 2025. The amount of cruelty and randomness feels like evidence that nobody is in control.
Right. But there are funny answers. Maybe the whole point is realism. They want a perfect history documentary, and history is messy. Or maybe we chose hard mode before we were born, like when you start a new game and the screen says easy, normal, veteran, realistic. We all picked realistic for the achievement points. Or maybe suffering is part of the lesson, like boot camp for souls. Or, my favorite, maybe the programmers are teenagers and they think war and heartbreak are cool drama.
Some religious people hear the simulation argument and say, we've been telling you this for thousands of years. They just use different words. Christians, Jews, and Muslims might say, God is the ultimate programmer and we're living in his story. The only difference is better graphics and no resurrection patch yet. Plato said we're watching shadows on a cave wall. Same idea, ancient version. It's comforting for some. If there's a programmer, maybe there's a purpose.
I love that connection. In Hinduism, the world is called Maya, which means illusion or playful illusion. Life is God's dream or God's video game. And when you wake up, you realize you were the dreamer all along. Buddhists say everything is empty of independent existence. Nothing has its own solid reality. everything depends on everything else, exactly like code depends on the computer running it. So, yeah, modern nerds in Silicon Valley didn't invent this. They just swapped God for supercomputer and soul for player avatar.
Okay, let's do a quick thought experiment. A thought experiment means imagine something crazy and see what happens in your head. Suppose tomorrow morning, scientists hold a press conference and say, "We cracked it. 100% mathematical proof we're in a simulation. Here's the code signature and the cosmic background radiation." What should we do the next day? Panic? Party? Change nothing?
Me? I would immediately start hunting for cheat codes. Secret button combinations that give you unlimited money, invisibility, ability to fly, infinite pizza that has 0 calories, like up, down, left, right, BA start, the old Konami code. I'd be jumping off buildings, yelling a Konami code, hoping I suddenly float. I'd also max out every credit card because who cares about debt in a video game?
More seriously, some philosophers say we should instantly become super ethical, be extra kind, help everyone, because the programmers might be judging us for the next level or sequel. Others say it changes nothing. Pain still hurts, whether it's real atoms or simulated atoms. Love still feels amazing. Pizza still tastes good. So keep living exactly the same. My favorite answer is from a programmer I read. I would keep writing code, because even if this is a simulation, good code is good karma.
I'm team hacker. I would try to break the simulation on purpose, do impossible things, divide by 0, say forbidden words super loud, gather 1 million people to jump at the exact same second and see if the physics engine crashes. Maybe if enough of us misbehave, they reboot the server and we all get better spawn points next time.
There are already people trying that in real life. Some do extreme meditation for years trying to wake up or talk to the admins. Others take psychedelics, magic mushrooms, DMT, because those drugs sometimes make people report meeting the programmers or seeing the code behind reality. There are even occult groups doing rituals to exit the matrix or send messages upstairs. Sounds crazy, but if they're right, they're the smartest people alive.
Imagine we actually get an answer back. Like one day every screen on Earth shows the same message. Hey, traffic patch coming next week. Hang tight. Dev team. Or my dream, player Sophia 1995 has discovered the pizza exploit. Enjoy. I would cry happy tears.
Or we could leave Easter eggs for future players. Easter eggs are secret surprises hidden in games. We could carve something permanent, like Sophia and William were here, 2025, simulation run number 42819 on a mountain, or bury a time capsule with USB drives that will still be readable in 1 million years of game time. Then some kid in the year 5000 boots up Ancient Earth Simulator and finds our message and freaks out.
Okay, let's wrap this up before our brains fully melt. Wrap up means finish. William, final question, no dodging. Do you think we're actually in a simulation? Yes, no, or maybe? And what percentage?
I'm not brave enough to say 99%, but I also can't say 0%. I'd put it at maybe 10 to 20% chance. The arguments are strong, the tech is heading that way, and quantum physics is too weird. But until someone shows me the code, I'm going to live as if this is the one real deal, because it's the only life I've got, and it feels pretty real when I stub my toe. Your turn.
I'm honestly 50-50. Some mornings I watch a sunset or hug my dog and think, no way, too beautiful to be pixels. Other days, I look at how insane 2020 to 2025 was. Pandemics, memes becoming presidents, billionaires going to space for fun. And I'm like, definitely scripted. For maximum drama, someone renew us for season 27. Either way, I'm going to enjoy the ride. Laugh loudly, love deeply, eat tons of tacos, and every once in a while look up at the sky, wave, and say, good episode today, devs. Life's too short.
Or too rendered to be grumpy.
Perfect answer. So listeners, we want to know your percentage. Are you 1%, 99%, or somewhere in between? Drop us a message on X, Instagram, Spotify comments, wherever you're listening. Thank you for spending your precious real or simulated time with us on Aurora English.
Bye, everyone. Stay curious, keep noticing the glitches, and if you suddenly get infinite pizza, share with me first.